Welcome to B2B Life with Jeff Brummer. This is your chance to listen in on conversations with successful entrepreneurs and business owners on their journey to success. Every story is different, but after consulting thousands of businesses over the last 20 years managing their business payments, Jeff has seen what works and what doesn't. From inspiration to tactics to a good laugh, helping leaders build more fulfilling businesses and lives is what B2B Life is all about.
Hello and welcome to B2B Life, where we connect high performers and you find out what makes them tick professionally and personally. My name is Jeff Brummer, and I've helped over 2,600 business owners and C-level clients over the last 20 years in professional things and all things money management and personal goals. My guest today is Charlie Kouba at Bank of Idaho. Charlie's worked with mutual clients for about 5 years now and giving them some amazing service and products. My current position at Capital One, selling a 2% cashback credit card. We don't offer lending or deposits in the states that I cover. So he excels in getting my clients, a great banking relationship for those services. Charlie's been in banking for almost 20 years, been with Bank of Idaho for about 5. And I'd like to welcome Charlie. Charlie, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing fine, Jeff. And actually, it's closer to 30 years. I'm a 51-year-old guy and almost 52. But yeah, I've been in banking forever and absolutely love it. And we appreciate working with you guys. You sent us a ton of referrals, and we appreciate your business personally as well.
Yeah, great. Wow, I'm underselling you. I should have checked my numbers before. Good. Well, yeah. So we just kind of want to dig in and what makes you tick and figure out, how you've stuck with this so long, professionally, personally. What are some things that you kind of carry over into the business world, back and forth into your family, and so first off, like what motivates you? Like how have you maintained such a high level of excellence for so long? What motivates you in the morning?
As crazy as it sounds, I mean, I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to be a banker. I want to sit behind a desk and make decisions on whether or not to loan people money. For me, it was, I needed a vehicle to be able to, provide a service to somebody. What drives me is I want to make a difference in somebody's life. And so I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but when husband and wife come in and say, hey, we've been working for wages for X number of years, we want to do something for ourselves. That entrepreneurial spirit I love. I like to listen to, someone's idea, whether they have a product that solves a problem and they need capital to be able to, to bring things to fruition. That's what excites me. It's growing up. I worked at a detail shop, and we would detail boats and motorhomes and cars. And it really, what it was taking something that wasn't so good and then making it into something that looked way, way better, that smelled better, that was cleaner, that was shinier, whatever. And I look at banking a lot in the same way, where somebody comes in and their life maybe isn't perfect, but they're really, really wanting to make it perfect or better, improve it. And so when they come in and say, I've been leasing a building for 10 years, I'd really like to buy it. I want to form a real estate holding company and have my operating entity lease it. What's the smartest way to do it? And so that's what really, really excites me. Probably nothing's better than having somebody come up after years and years and say, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but you loaned us some money a while back. And it just makes you feel good.
That's awesome.
A lot of times, you get up in the morning, you're out in the shower. I'm thinking about banking. I'm thinking about, hey, I got a phone call from so-and-so, need to give them a call back. And so a lot of our phone calls, believe it or not, whether we're violating banking laws, but a lot of our emails and phone calls and text messages are way before bankers hours. Sometimes 6:30 in the morning when we were doing those PPP loans for a lot of our, small business customers, the payroll protection stuff. We were 24 hours a day. We had our guys work and gals working, 2:00 in the morning, reserving funds at SBA and getting loan documents quickly so we could get that capital into the hands of our customers. And so, getting a lot of things done in a short amount of time is what we're known for. I've been at Bank of Idaho since 2019, and it's been such a great ride. Absolutely love working here.
Yeah, Yeah, it's awesome. It seems like what motivates you is a little bit of your touch, your talents hitting on a client and seeing where they want to go and basically helping them. I mean, that's a little overlap here. Obviously, at this conversation at B2B Life, we only have a few episodes under our belt, so you've actually helped me by coming on and sharing some of your talents. What would you say is unique? Speaking of talents, what would you say is unique to you? This is your time to brag a little bit. What's your God-given talents as far as like what you feel you excel at just naturally?
You know, I'm probably known as an over communicator. I hate leaving people hanging. I like to have open dialogue. People say, "Oh, I'm a great communicator." We hear that all the time, but our motto here is never let your customer have to call you for an update. Whether it's a car purchase, whether it's a commercial real estate or whatever, we like to follow up with our customers and saying, "Hey, just so you know, your deal's in underwriting. Typically takes 3 to 4 days for this," and then you always set an expectation. And so we've heard it quite a bit from people saying this is so much different than a big bank because I know where our loan is every step of the way. Or if we're opening deposit accounts and everything else, I like to have that constant connect where my customers go, I know I can reach Charlie. If they were on a game show and said, okay, you gotta call or text one person, who's that person that's going to text you back the quickest? And I can tell you it'd be me.
Yeah, I unlike some other people I'm interviewing, I've had some experience with you for a side business that I could attest to that. You're very, I don't, there's no, I know where I stand at a specific thing you're working on. So that's been great. Appreciate that. What's kind of a quote, I may not have given you a heads up here, but what's a good quote or a good mindset you like to live by personally, professionally, either one? Like, what's a good quote that you like? Maybe you have something kicking around in your office there,
Yeah.
that you like.
Yeah, Jeff, as far as a quote, for me personally, and I know our bank as well, but when you overpromise and underdeliver, that's probably the worst. When you have to avoid your customer for whatever reason, whether it's a delay in underwriting or their loan was declined, but you're having problems, dealing with it. For us, I would rather just be honest as soon as you know it, have the conversation. We definitely like to deliver bad news in person. Um, but for us, just keeping the customer informed exactly where they are and just setting an expectation. There's nothing worse than than having a deadline on a real estate purchase where somebody has 50,000 non-refundable. When the customer doesn't get any communication from their lender, things get really fast. And so for us, we take those deadlines super seriously. If we anticipate problems, we identify those early. If we're not able to make that date for whatever reason, or we're waiting on an appraisal. But for us, we take great pride in informing our customers every step of the way. But we like to over deliver. We always like to leave something for the client. There's nothing worse than issuing a term sheet that has rates, fees, and terms, maturities, and loan structure. And then when we get to the closing table, when it's different, when it's not in the customer's favor, those are uncomfortable conversations. And I never want to be in that position. I would rather say, hey, good news, your rate actually is a quarter lower and your fees are $1,500 less than we discussed on your term sheet. Then, you're the hero. And so we definitely like to set
That's
expectations and knock their socks off at the closing table, where if there's a surprise, it's to the customer's benefit.
Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely easier to sleep at night, and you don't get those phone calls after 5 o'clock that you dread that kind of ruin your night. So that's good.
Absolutely. And in the Treasure Valley here, I'm sure it's like this anywhere you go, but it seems like definitely in Idaho, it's your reputation is everything. You do somebody dirty on a loan. They tell 50 of their buddies, don't ever go here. This is what happened to me. They lost my financial statements, my tax returns, whatever. We really take the time that we need to get a complete financial package, to get it submitted correctly the first time. And it just works better. And so, when you're a junior lender and you've only been, lending for 5 years or something, lots of mistakes are made, things are lost. But the more you're in it and the more you enjoy it, when you're passionate about something, you tend to do a way better job. And a lot of the bankers here at Bank of Idaho are passionate about what they do. We could go work somewhere else and out of the industry, but for us, we take great pride in knowing that that customer that's sitting in front of you, that's your priority. And a lot of times we have many priorities at the same time, but that's not your customer's fault. All they know is they have a transaction that needs to close, and they're putting their faith and trust in the bank to give them a fair loan product and delivering what was stated in a term sheet. And so that's what we pride ourselves in.
Awesome. Well, I know one of your hats we haven't talked about yet. One of your hats there at the bank is you're in a leadership role. And I want to help some of our listeners kind of capture some of the leadership mindset, mentality, maybe any books that you've read as far as with your leadership. How are you helping the people you work with achieve the things they want to accomplish?
Yeah. So, for us, I am in a leadership role, and when we have an employee that may not be performing at the level that we would like or they would like, it's up to us. We look at that as almost a personal failure on leadership's role. I mean, is there some tools or some techniques that we could share with this? Let's say it's a junior loan officer that's struggling to build a pipeline or to network. What we end up doing is a lot of times we bring the employee in and saying, hey, we've noticed your production, your pipeline's not as strong as it probably could be. What can we do to help? Is there something that you're feeling that we could give you the tools to work with? And a lot of times, you can have people that go to leads groups and have a pretty good circle of influence, but sometimes when you're fishing in the wrong pond, you're going to be catching the same size of fish all the time, and sometimes it's just a different perspective. I remember when I first started in lending, you get a hold of your brother, your sister-in-law, or whatever that was a realtor and a commercial broker and a financial planner and a CPA, and that's how you grew it. But a lot of times, you identify who are the best referral sources for you. What's the best use of your time? Because let's admit it, we've got X number of years on this earth, and we want to provide for our families, and we want to do things efficiently. And I think you look at the top performers of any company, and a lot of times they have just a slightly different angle or, a methodology on how they use their time the wisest way they can. And so a lot of times, we have employees that are putting in the effort, but they're in the wrong pond. And so a lot of times an introduction to certain people makes a big difference. A lot of times just having them shadow you as well. If we go on a customer call, we'll like to grab some of our junior officers that are, fairly new to the game, and then introduce them and have them listen to how we do things, because any banker can sit there and say, oh, come to us. We've got great loans, great deposits, and our CD rates are here, and we have great customer service. We're all about people. All right. Everybody says that. But a lot of times, the most effective way for us to generate more business is not to focus on the bank. It's to focus on your customer's business. How do they make their money? What are their struggles? So the questions you ask your customer, a lot of times when we're really interested in how they make money and how we can help them get their gross margin stronger, what customers are they trying to land? A lot of times, if we focus more on their business, our business comes later. It might take 6 months, a year, but when you have a builder come back and say, hey, thanks for introducing me to that electrician or that plumber or the roofer, that made a substantial difference. I didn't know I was overpaying for this service, or, this carpenter, finish work carpenter is so good. It's elevated my product to where my customers notice it. And so you kind of shift what's important. Bankers are really quick to say, oh, we got the lowest rate, and it's kind of like a race to the bottom. Who could provide the loan the cheapest and the quickest? But a lot of times, if my client says, Charlie, you made a difference. You put me in touch with somebody that, it changed our revenue $200,000. We're not arguing over an eighth of a point in interest rate and, $500 in a loan fee. It's Charlie's my guy. We need to get connected with somebody. It's a quick turnaround time, and it's meaningful. I don't refer people to people that I don't know. And it's really hard. You go to some of these leads groups, they're like, hey, send me all your referrals for so-and-so. Well, if I don't know that you're a really good roofer, and a lot of times you want to date before you get married. So if
Yeah.
we're talking about everything is your reputation, I'm not going to refer a potential customer to somebody that I just saw in a leads group 30 minutes ago, and I'm expected to refer them. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I just we
Yeah,
just
that's the law of reciprocity is huge. I think that with my clients, as for example, referring to what you're doing with lending and deposits, I know that I kept close tabs on how the first couple went, and they had a great experience. So it makes you more comfortable sending them over additionally, because you just don't want to, you lose your street cred if you send business over and the client doesn't get taken care of, or worse, you don't even follow up to see if they got taken care of. You just kind of threw the lead over the fence. So it's nice to work with established partners that excel in their industry, and kind of you get that peace of mind. So yeah, that
makes a
makes sense.
huge difference for us for sure.
Yeah. Well, good. All right. So it sounds like with leadership in that, you probably passed that along to I know that is echoed with some of the employees that you work with and that you lead. So that's you're definitely doing a great job there. You touched a little bit about like simplifying your time and maximizing your time. Is there any tactics that you personally use or your team uses to make things a little more efficient, maybe with technology, or is there kind of a cadence that you use to streamline your time so it kind of force multiplies so you're bigger out there in the market?
Yeah, for sure. We don't have like a certified CRM program where it divvies up, this customer with this region versus this branch or whatever. And so a lot of times, we have to be careful not to run over ourselves chasing the same customer. And some of our customers, that we're chasing another branch, they don't even realize they got another LLC that already banks with us. So a lot of times it's just, sending out an email saying, hey, I plan on meeting with this development group. Does anybody have any experience with them? And so a lot of times, it's just communicating amongst ourselves. But what I see quite a bit is, a lot of times people think that it's the number of leads groups that you go to that makes a difference. And a lot of times that's not the case. If you get into a leads group, or a chamber or something like that, and it's not a good fit, you look at the amount of hours you put in it, the amount of money it costs to be involved in it, and then you look at just a basic ROI. Did we get anything out of this the last couple of years, or are we just fooling ourselves and pretending, taking this time throughout the day to attend this stuff, and you're like, we're not squeezing any juice at all, And
Yeah.
for us, we and there's a limited amount of dollars to go around to support. We've got 16 branches among the system, in Eastern Washington, in Church Valley, and also Eastern Idaho. So we like to allocate those dollars the best we can and identify some of the things that work and what don't work. We do a lot of campaigns with CPAs and financial planners, and a lot of times it's not the dog and pony show, but we bring somebody from cash management or somebody from our real estate department or somebody from our SBA department. If we can make those presentations, and we've got 20 or 30 people in a room, this captive audience, and we're bringing lunch to them, we're like, hey guys, here's what we do, and here's how we do it. And a lot of times, if we can help that real estate agent sell more homes or commercial developments, a lot of times you can custom tailor a loan that would allow the debt to income ratio to work and to qualify and to be a sellable type loan in the secondary market. If we can get with that realtor saying, you know what, we want to help you sell 10 more houses this year. How can we do it? What's your biggest struggle? And for us, one of the most important things is listen more than you talk. We have lots of guys out there and gals that are really good speakers, but they don't really hear what their customer is saying. And so
Right.
we like to hit pause and say, what are the struggles in your business?
Yeah. Okay. So
How can we help you? And they're like, oh man,
yeah, that's awesome. So it seems
it
like
makes a big difference when we're.
no, go ahead. Not sure if we have a little delay there, but it seems like the two things that make your time efficient. I think you spoke earlier about being in the right pond, fishing in the right with the right client size. I think we mutually have similar clients we like to help, typically between 3 or 4 million in revenue and 100 million in revenue, is where we like to play, as well as you guys. And then, as you said, kind of helping them help find a custom solution for their business. And if you can be a value add for even more than banking, connecting them with business contacts that they may need, it definitely maximizes your time.
It,
Um,
it truly does.
yeah. So, is there like, is there a personal, like, in the spirit of like learning and like growth, both business and professionally, or is there any like books that you like that recently, or podcasts that you've kind of, um, or it doesn't even have to be recently. Is there anything that you've read or learned that you kind of like to apply or kind of recommend for other business minded people or just people that want to improve their lives?
Yeah, for sure. I read the book Traction, and I know a lot of people, love that book. And I took the time, read through it, and talked to a lot of different people. I love, to get on YouTube and just listen to different perspectives of people. You have the doomsday preppers out there, and then you have,
Yeah.
the real estate market's going to absolutely crash the next day. Take your money out of banks because cash is worthless. I mean, it's this huge, huge spectrum, and for us, we look at it and go, all right, so you read this book and you have to take bits and pieces out of everything. And you need to be smart enough to figure out, you know, does this really make sense? Do you understand what people are saying? Being on this side of the desk and being able to, interview customers and listen to what their problems are. I mean, a lot of the top 10 problems of business owners are really similar. How do you attract and retain employees? How do we increase our margins? We
Yeah.
got new competition coming in, but making sure that you have the right person on the right bus in the right seat, because a lot of times it's just you got 80% of the formula perfected, but then the other ones are not doing so well. And it's almost like I look at it like a V8 engine in a car, right? So you have these 8 cylinders, and all these pistons are going up and down, and when all 8 of them work together, it's making a lot of power, right? Well, if you have one cylinder that's bad, one piston that's bad, it's not, you can't call it a 7 cylinder. It's less than that, because that cylinder's not doing any work at all and it's dragging down the others. And so for us, we want to kind of like supercharge the people that we work for and the customers that we have. There's nothing more rewarding than having a good match that we can definitely move the needle for their business. We have people come in all the time. Hey, I've got a contractor. He's allowing me to bring in some different subs on a certain project. And for us, the last thing the bank wants to do is meddle in anybody else's affairs. But if we can say, hey, listen, if you're open to getting a bid from this person, this person, if I can save you $10,000 and they do great work and they're the best kept secret in the Treasure Valley, that makes us feel really, really good. And so going back to, being a trusted advisor, going back to being a friend and being a business owner as well, to recognize what some of their struggles are. And when you can listen to somebody and really, really adapt and go, no, I know what you're saying. Here's what we did in our business to overcome that,
Yeah.
and it makes it's rewarding. It's not just sitting back here saying yes or no to a loan. It's how can we really, really get your business where you need it to be. But that book Traction is great.
Yeah. No, I haven't read that. I definitely want to now. That seems very relevant in all the things that you're working with. I think you're right at the end there. You mentioned, kind of a rising tide raises all ships, right? So if you can help another business and apply what you've learned, I mean, it comes back full circle, and kind of that's somewhat the point of this B2B life solution here. This podcast is we want to get great ideas flowing, and like you said also earlier, that different industries have similar problems, whether it's employees or payroll or marketing, advertising, in your case banking. I mean, there's all similar industries have, or different industries have similar problems, and that's the fun, like they say, the fun part of business is that it can be applied cross platform. So
It is for sure. And one thing that I've done for years and years, Like I said, I was with Idaho Independent Bank for 20 years, just right down the road, and had a good customer base. But when we started out, we were trying to take customers from the bigger banks, the Wells Fargo's of the world, the U.S. banks, and everything else. Just being able to listen and to provide a solution or even options to a solution, it means so much. And some, not to bash on bigger banks, but a lot of the customers come here because they feel like a number. They're like, I don't have $5 million at Wells Fargo, so I didn't even show up on the radar at all. But when we could reach out saying, you know what, interest rates went up, and everybody automatically thinks, oh, it's just loan rates that went up. Mortgage rates are up, commercial rates are up. Well, what about deposit rates? So what we do is we reach out and say, hey, I know, we've been chasing you for years. I know you're happy with, let's say it's U.S. Bank, whatever, pick a bank. Certainly, I hope they're paying you more for your deposit. And people are like, what do you mean? We're like, well, our bank's paying 5% APY, let's say, on CDs, or 3.5 or 4% on money markets. Certainly, if you've been there for 20 years and they treat you really well, did they reach out and mention that rates went up and we can make your money, work harder? And banks aren't really, really good at calling customers saying, I think we could pay you more money. Let's get our cost of funds higher. But we're not geared that way. But a lot of times it gets the conversation started to where, why isn't my bank referring business to me? Why isn't my bank having me be customer of the month? Why isn't my bank calling me saying rates are up? Why would you have $2 million sitting in a regular operating account when we could take $1.5 million and put it into a money market or an IntraFi account, or FDIC insurance? I mean, all this other stuff. It's not just loans and deposits. It's saying it like it is, being honest, and having your customer go, this is why I bank with Bank of Idaho.
Awesome.
Is for that reason.
Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that. That makes sense. What's your, what do you guys, or what do you personally, what kicks off a successful day for you? What do your first couple hours in the morning look like to get you rolling? What's your morning routine?
For sure. We go through and, we respond very, very quickly to emails and texts.
Even before you get in the office, Charlie, let's go deep. Let's go personal. Before you go in the office, is that what you're doing? You're waking up and replying already?
Yeah.
Wow.
Typically I wake up at, let's say, my wife wakes up way sooner than I do, but I get up probably at 6:00 and, read a few things, listen to little bits of a podcast. But I check my emails and my texts all the time just to make sure that somebody's not waiting. It seems like everybody has, a situation or an emergency or a deadline that they're trying to meet. And so for us, that's a chance to really, really, to shine. Our CEO literally will get on LinkedIn and reach out to people saying, hey, congratulations on opening your, 5th restaurant, whatever. If you need a good banker, give us a call. We've had so many people call and say, you're not going to believe this, but your CEO reached out. And that's how serious we take these things. It's not like everybody's in an ivory tower and all the lenders need to go out there and be business development officers and gather deposits and loans. That's part of it. But everybody here looks at it and says, all right, how can we differentiate ourselves? Are we different than these big banks or credit unions? For sure. We want to add value. And there's nothing better than being able to call a customer or respond back to them way before, bank hours or on the weekend or something like that. So it's absolutely imperative for us. But, we want to respond back to these things quickly because, it's almost like going down to DMV and you have 15 cashiers, but there's only one window open and everybody's in line and everybody's grumpy. We want to be able to say, you know what, you are our priority, and can we meet for coffee? And Jeff, it's no different. A lot of times when we want to introduce a customer, a prospective customer to somebody else because we think it'll add value, we don't just say, hey, you need to call Jim Smith. Here's his phone number, and then leave it. No, let's grab a coffee. Let's take the 15 or 20 minutes to do a real introduction and explain. Here's what they do. Here's what you guys do. I think it'd be a good mix. I think it'd be good for you guys to meet each other because those connections are absolutely priceless. And I love hearing about the positive things. So
you mentioned a podcast that you kick off in the morning. What fills your cup to better serve your clients? Like, what do you do mentally in the morning, to or even physically, physically, mentally, like, what do you do to kind of get yourself going, get yourself in a good place for the day?
Yeah, I love pickleball. That always
Okay.
gets the juices flowing. I'm not the greatest at it, but it sure is fun. But I can tell you this, when I get on some of these, I get on YouTube and listen to some of these people, and it, it's so everybody has a different perspective. You're either glass half empty, half full type things, and it's our
Yeah.
job to kind of decipher what's best. But for me, when I and you could just Google big 10 biggest challenges in banking, 10 biggest challenges for small business owners in 2023. Being able to read those things, and then of course always brings up an article or something that you can read, but that kind of gets the juices flowing way before bank hours. But if I see an article that may relate to one of my customers here that may be facing the same challenges, and another business owners talking about here's how they overcame that, I'll send that article to them, or we print something out, we mail it to them, and it's getting back to that constant connect to where we're not an ordinary bank. We're on the lookout for trends, and so here in Idaho, we think that commercial mortgage rates are X number, but if you talk to somebody else that maybe a commercial banker in Texas or North Carolina or whatever, to get their perspective on what they see is really, really valuable.
Yeah.
We don't want to leave money on the table for sure, but we also want to be competitive. We have to be. Um, but
Yeah. Okay.
but
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you mentioned pickleball earlier. I'm kind of the same way where I like to get the blood flowing early in the morning, get me going. It kind of helps me think clearer. I think as well, like you do. Like I try to do my learning in the morning, because it just helps me. Like in my mind, how can I, what can I learn both for myself, and what can I learn to kind of carry on and give to a client or a prospect, or what are kind of just some things I can learn in the morning and try to apply them. And that's how I retain my learnings, is by actually like sharing it, applying it, blasting it out through whoever I think it'll help, basically. So as far as pickleball goes, this kind of leads into my next question. I know, really I want to know what you're successful. I think an important part of that is giving back. I know you were involved in a pickleball chair type thing. Why don't you tell us about that and why you think that's important for you?
yeah, Bank of Idaho is huge on community events, and for us to be able to put on a tournament and raise money for nonprofits, we love that. We also do something that's called the Winco Grocery Giveaway. It's pretty cool. Winco partnered with me, and so did Dutch Brothers, and so basically that deal is the first year I think it was like 70 some thousand that we raised, and it basically customers can buy gift cards and they get a 5% bonus from Winco. So if they write a check for $1,000, they get 1,050 in gift cards, and then these business owners pick up all the Winco cards and they get to go to Winco's and give these cards out to people that may need a helping hand during the holidays. And so we've done it for 3 years now, and Dutch Brothers always donates cards, and we kind of do it as a trivia thing, so we don't isolate one person like, oh, you look like you need some help. For us, we just, hey, it's your lucky day, and if you'd like to answer some trivia questions, you might be able to win $250 in a Winco gift card today. And you talk about a rewarding deal. There's no money that goes for administrative. It goes directly to the consumer. And so we put Santa hats on and go to various Wincos and give people cards. And when they go back, to get meat or steak or hamburger or whatever, the more expensive items, it makes you feel really good. Probably one of the best things is when you sneak up to the cash register and the person's getting ready to pay, you need to step right in front of them and just pay it. And the balance on that card is for them, and for them to say, what entity are you with? It's not about that. It's not about, hey, it's Bank of Idaho or it's, all these other companies. This is just, hey, there's business owners that care about the community, and we do things out of the goodness of our hearts, and so that's what drives us. You ask, what gets you going in the morning, what makes you different. It's we want to be good people. We want to be, a valued part of our community, and you do things for the right reasons. It's not always about the almighty dollar. And so, we don't call six on your side and say, hey, look at us. Here's what we did. We want all this free publicity. It's not that at all. It's taking the time to do things right and partnering with companies that have values that are aligned with ours. And so it's exciting. It makes you feel good, and we plan on doing it for years to come.
Yeah, awesome. That's what it's all about. When you're successful, it's kind of nice to give back and see other people touched by you, not just going in to collect a paycheck, that you're actually there making a difference in other people's lives outside of your expertise in banking. You're there kind of working in their behalf, Bank of Idaho's behalf, but yet you're still helping out where you can. So that's cool.
For sure.
Okay. Last two questions. We've got life is meant to be enjoyed. I know with your side businesses, you're using the Capital One cashback card. What are some fun things you've used that money for, like as far as travel, or you going to any cool places? You got any cool trips planned? Like, what's something that you look forward to, or you've already done with some of that
Sure.
credit card rewards?
Our bank, we offer credit cards for sure. We don't have the same program as Capital One, and going back to what we said before, we want to make sure we have the right fit for each customer. And the Capital One card for us is worked great. To get to be able to select cash back, and you get a check in the mail, and you turn around and go use it for Christmas presents, or pickleball paddles, or whatever you want to do. When we use that card to buy all of our materials, we always think, oh, it's almost like a Christmas present. I wonder how much we're going to get back this month, and that's what's exciting. But being able to use the cash anywhere you want is truly a good bonus, and having the credit limits that you need to be able to fill some of these purchase orders that we have to buy the material is exciting. So it's been a good experience, and being able to communicate with you, Jeff, on any issues has been great. And so when I do have a customer that doesn't, maybe it's not the best fit for our credit card, I want to be able to give them an option at least. And when I give your name and number out, I know that they're going to be taken care of, because you're going to return your phone call. And if it's not a good fit for you, maybe you have a referral for somebody else too. But it's about taking care of that customer long term, and not always getting the sale on every single opportunity. So
yeah. No, yeah. Thanks for the compliment. Definitely been good working with you, and that's good that you're taking advantage of all the perks for the card there in your business and personal life. So, okay, last question. I know I'd like to kind of convey out in this podcast the importance of involving your kids in your business, whether it be your bank job or your side hustle. How do you find it? Like, how have you incorporated your kids into your day-to-day to make them feel like a part of it, help them learn some lessons? Like, what have you done specifically that has helped your kids? I know you've had some kids involved in your business life, your 9 to 5. So just curious what you've done and how it's helped them.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. So one of our companies is called Kouba Inc., and we make motorcycle parts, and it's a company we bought from my dad, and both of my sons, Austin and Bailey, and my brother are each 25% owners. So collectively we're 100%. But the biggest thing that I've learned is, everybody has their strengths, everybody has their weaknesses, right? And for me, having my oldest son do all of the accounting type functions, and invoices and POs, and making sure that things are, from a bookkeeping standpoint, on par. That's probably what I'm not the greatest at. And so my youngest son, running errands and being able to pick up parts when it's almost like a divide and conquer. You have X number of things to do on your list, and being able to, I can go to each one of those sons, and I know which one's going to do that job the most efficiently and easiest and whatever. And so my brother's the exact same way, leveraging their strengths, and being honest with yourself. I mean, there's lots of things that I could be better at. But I think a lot of these challenges that businesses have is they try to fool themselves into putting themselves in a role that I know I'm good at this, I know I'm good, but everybody around them says that's probably not the greatest fit. But just being honest and being able to do it like it's almost like, check your ego at the door, but here's what other people around are seeing. And so when we took over Kouba Link, we made some changes, a lot of changes, and they were for the better. And so whether it's the online presence or Amazon or Etsy or whatever, streamlining everything. And I wasn't good at that. I'm a 51-year-old guy that, I thought going from a flip phone to a smartphone back in the day, right?
Yeah.
And so, but there's things that you have to be open to different ideas. And instead of having the automatic reaction of, nope, this is not how we do it, this is not how my dad did it. A lot of times it's just shutting your mouth and listening, going, wow, I didn't really even think about that. I'm glad you brought that up, and giving the people that are around you the courtesy. And if that's their expertise and they're like, here's how we can sell more Kouba Links in Australia, New Zealand, and Pakistan and Israel, here's how we could do it. And so finding distributors in these different countries that'll place these big orders and be able to have one shipment that goes over instead of individual shipments. And so a lot of different things and that I would never have thought of. I'd probably be doing it the old school way, but and banking is no different. A lot of times there's new technologies that come down and that we have to look at and analyze and say, is this the best thing for us to do? Is the product that we have right now the best we can do, considering all the factors that we have? And so, it's growing pains, trying to get a business to go from a hobby to a business to a full-fledged, hey, this is how I'm going to support my family. And then talk about scaling it. How do you scale something like this with 4 people? And I remember talking to my dad and when my mom was alive, for them to process 10 to 12 orders a day, that was like a full day, right? And they were handwriting all their stuff on U.S. Postal Service boxes and trying to collect money because they didn't take credit card and this, that, and the other. It was a lot of moving parts at the same time. But once you get the machine built, you realize, wow, this is really cool. We should do more of this. So I love to help small businesses. Trying to scale.
That's awesome. It's awesome that your parents kind of instilled small business in you and involved you in their business, and then therefore you've had an easier opportunity to incorporate your kids in. And it sounds like you kind of picked out some of their unique talents that in some cases were better than talents you have yourself, to basically allow them to shine and kind of learn the business world. That'll definitely help them the rest of their lives in whatever they do. So that's awesome that you kind of incorporated them in that. So, well, good. Yeah. I appreciate your time. I don't have anything else. I think you're awesome at what you do and look forward to continue working with you and appreciate all you've shared with our audience. Where can people find you if they want to connect? What's the best way to get a hold of Charlie?
Yeah, so my cell phone's probably the best, and 208-283-8419. You can email me as well. It's charliekouba@bankofidaho.net. I'm on LinkedIn as well, and my physical office is on Overland near Cole. If anybody's out and they want to talk face-to-face, that's great. Send me a text or an email or whatever, and we'll get it on the schedule. And but I travel between the Fairview and 5 and the Nampa and the downtown branch too. So we'll make it easy for the customer if they just want to grab a quick coffee or a lunch or whatever. That's totally fine. But a lot of times people are busy and they just want to know what we're about in a 10-minute phone conversation. That's great too. So we welcome anybody that wants a change in their banking. And if they don't feel like, we always tell people this: if you've got a good banker and you've been there forever and you're being taken care of, man, stay there. If they got a good program, stay there. But if you're, what keeps you up at night, if you're like, is my bank doing everything? Or are they just trying to charge me an overdraft fee or a transfer fee or an ATM fee? We don't want to make our money that way. Our bank wants to make money on real estate loans. We want to get the principal back and a slice of interest, right? But we don't want to nickel and dime people. But
well, yeah, that's awesome. I can attest. Yeah, that's well, good. I appreciate your time. We'll put your contact info as well in our show notes. So we'll have people connect with you that way, and maybe we can get you on sometime in the future for a round 2.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Yeah, great. Have a good day, Charlie.
See you, buddy.
Thanks.